Hey Laowinners, it's Laowinners here with another video. Special guest, Vivian Wei, my wife, my
Chinese
confidant,
wife.
my Chinese wife. I gotta put that in the title, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's for sure. Got a lot of requests, and this is a special video because the patrons for patreon.com/Laowinners voted on this video. And I was overwhelmed because like whenever I do these polls, I think they're gonna vote for stuff that I really want to make, but they always vote for stuff that, not that I don't want to make, but like definitely like back burner stuff. So I guess I'm wrong and you guys are right. The power of the people. Should we get right into it?
Okay.
Let's just jump right into it.
Yeah.
So me and Winston a long time ago did a really cool video. It's still one of my favorite topics on ADVChina called China Expectations versus Reality. And we highlighted a lot of the things that foreigners before they go to China think that China is all about, right? What China's gonna look like, what it's gonna smell like, what are the people like, what's the food like? Are there dragons and pandas running around everywhere, right? Or is it this oppressive, horrible North Korean gulag, right? And we addressed them after living in China for so long because we felt like we had a wealth of knowledge from our previous preconceptions about China versus actually what it was like.
Yeah.
And I want to do the same thing with you because you've been in America for a little while now.
Yeah. But I'm still can count as a phobby though.
You're still a fob. You're still fresh off the boat. However, your language ability is much better than mine was in China when I first moved there.
That's for sure.
So-
I have no patience with your Chinese.
Right, yeah, back in the day. Remember,
Yeah.
like I was like, I don't even remember what I sound like, but it was really bad.
That's bad.
So you were talking to me actually last night about some points, things that you expected America to be like versus what they're really like. And the first thing I want to get into is crime, because
Crime.
America is freaking dangerous, isn't it?
Yeah, every single time, like, because, you know, Chinese in China have stereotype, and American in America have stereotype. So as a foreigner, that never lived in America before, actually you guys scared the crap out of us. Everybody can carry gun, for God's sake. You can't even argue with anybody. It's like, sup, dude? I'm so mad. Pull out the gun, bang.
Right.
But the problem is like, that's what's the stereotype of? Like we thought everybody able to have the gun in
Just
their
like right
pocket.
out in the open.
So the second people put their hand in the pocket, and then you gotta watch out. But by the time we came here, it's not true. It's so not true. People who actually have the paper to have a gun, they are more likely not to shoot you.
Right. Like,
Yeah.
kind of common sense.
I got a question. How many times have you seen a gun while you've been here in America, like just in public and stuff?
Actually, in the public, I never seen any gun, to be honest.
Have you seen any shootings?
Even cops we pass by, I didn't see guns. Probably they hid them
holstered
well.
up, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, but the thing is, like, if you see a person have a gun in China, they do have a gun. They show it.
If you see a gun in China, you're dead.
I found a really interesting thing in America. It's like, okay, we can check about the crime report. Literally, it's just one street. There's no wire, no bar, just like separate them. But you can see from the
crime rate
the
map.
crime rate net. It just like cut from that single street.
It doesn't spill
and then
over.
the crime just like over there. It just like rob whatever you want, murder whoever you want, fight whoever you want within that neighborhood. They just rarely cross.
That's a whole nother topic. But
It's not about like a cop laying there just like who come over will shoot them.
crime in China is just not reported, right? It's covered up. So you get this on paper incredibly safe country, and then when you're actually living amongst it, you don't even have to look for it. There's a lot more visible crime than anything I've seen in the US.
And think about it though, we were used to live in a government compound supposed to be really well protected. We managed to see the spider boy climb up on our
Didn't you throw
roof.
a flower pot at him or something? Trying
Not
to break
flower
into your house?
pot. It's boiling water.
Oh, he's climbing up your building, trying
Yeah,
to get in your
because
window.
like like I said, every single Chinese people have their boiling water kettle.
Oh, true.
Just
So that's a
dump
good
them
weapon,
all
actually.
out.
You don't need guns there. And, you know, me and Winston used to sit and have a couple beers on like a very safe road at night and have barbecue, and an 80-year-old woman come trying to sell us
Yeah,
meth.
it's like
No one tried to sell me
shaking-
meth in America.
Yeah, shaking the little glass.
Little-
like,
she's like, hey, you want a chateau, bing quai? We're like, what?
yeah, that's supposed to be like an okay area. They would do that. Think about it in America. To me, I thought it will be almost the same, but it's so not true.
Right.
No
it's easier
crime, just, like,
to be in a
almost no
safe
crime.
area. In China, it's
Yeah.
much more random, we can say.
You just like don't know where you end up.
Kidnappings.
Yeah, I can push my baby in a stroller on the sidewalk. My heart wouldn't pound.
Like it did in China.
Yeah,
Right.
and yeah, that's like a really simple thing to say.
Okay, cool. The next thing you actually brought up, and I thought was interesting, was racism. Now we're going to get demonetized. Yes. So we need to have expensive ads just in case we still get monetized. So I really want to buy real estate. I would love to buy an expensive watch, car, and a nice house. Trigger those ads, you know? Racism. So you were telling me that everybody, all your friends, said before you came to America, you were going to experience deep racism. You were a third-class citizen.
Yeah.
You're going to get a lower wage.
That's-
People shit on you.
That's literally all the story or the article was like Chinese people, watch out to go there. You're probably thinking that's a like golden American dream. Your dream gonna shatter because you technically it's a dirty race.
Like
and,
subhuman.
You're subhuman, and then you get a low salary, and then people look down upon you because you're not white, you don't speak English, blah blah, all those like disadvantage. Actually making like we look back, it's like, man, I'm like, so that's also why by the time I'm great to move to America. Do you know how much I love you?
Why?
Because how much crap I need to like prepare for. I'm not a first world citizen. I'm literally like a rat or cockroach in that country.
In your mind.
In my mind.
Right.
Yeah, the stereotype. But the thing is, by the time I came here, this funny thing is I realized that like white people not allowed to talk about racism stuff.
Okay.
But people like us, you can look at. So far, I watched all those like stand-up comedies.
Right.
For example, Ali Wong. For example, like other.
That Filipino dude.
Yeah, I don't remember their name. The majority of them, they're not white. They're able to make fun of you guys.
Right.
Whenever me or any of my other Asian girlfriends are thinking about dating a white guy, like we probably do like a little more research on him, you know? Just a little more due diligence. Huh? Okay. I know this is touchy and there are some white guys here tonight, and so that's okay. That's okay, because this joke is for you all as well. Okay? Don't worry. Like everything else in the world. So don't worry about it.
So we're saying like, screw those
White
white people, screw everything, which is, you know, those kind of things. It's like, man, we actually allowed to talk about those.
Right. So you're trying to sum it up by saying you don't feel like a third-class citizen and people are nice to you.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you experienced racism?
Not really, no.
Would you say, have you experienced racism to the extent that someone like me in China has?
Oh, that's
Okay, so that's the reality of the situation.
that's a reality. And also I realized that as a woman in China, it's like so disadvantage. But when you're in America, you are, first of all, you're minority. I don't even think it's minority anymore. You walk down the street, majority of Asian people, it's like taking over or something.
In certain areas.
The second thing is like, you're a woman, so don't hurt me and don't hurt my feeling by using your hurtful words, and then I will sue you. First is racism, second is sexism. You go to the jail right away.
Yeah, I guess. I can't commentate on that,
But
but
you
that
can't
proves
do
your
that.
point. So the next thing you brought up was food, right? Food's
yeah.
a big one, so you have to eat to survive, right?
Yeah,
What were your
literally the
expectations?
big one.
Oh, yeah, the
You
big-
guys ate huge amount of food. The first time I came here, you ordered food. I literally saying like, you don't need to share with me so much food, waste a lot. So
I mean, like I don't need to order my own dish because
Yeah.
we can just share one.
and then you were just like such a proud boy, say like, oh no, we're gonna have 2 dish because that's what normal people do. The problem is we can't even finish them.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, like, no offense, like now I know sometimes in some area the portion they are big and they're cheap. So
Sure.
why people are so big? Now I have.
You just pissed off a lot of overweight folk. But that's the
I
reality
mean, like,
of the situation.
but the problem is like when we're in upstate New York, I saw a lot of big people, but
yeah, like more rural areas.
and I would just like put the stereotype. Okay, American are big.
Right.
They're just fat. They don't take care of themselves.
Right.
But by the time we move to LA, that's another story.
Right.
When you go to some like big city, people care about themselves, care about their profession, they care about their image. They more tend to care about themselves.
For sure.
Even the food portion is like that. It doesn't matter. It's about self-control.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like portions in China can be massive too, but it's sharing.
Yeah, they
so
share.
It's different.
But you guys just like this.
Well, I thought it was funny. Last night you said like your expectation was that the portions were going to be huge, but
Yeah.
now you got used to it and you get pissed
I was
off
like,
when you
that's
go to
too small.
when you go to other countries. Now you get pissed off that it's too small.
Yeah, I didn't get my money worth it.
Yeah. The next thing you were mentioning was the small talk with strangers. So your expectation, you told me last night, was that in America it'd be like in China, you don't talk to people that you don't know.
Yeah, like I don't know you, and you are not in my social
Circle.
connection,
Right.
and why you talk to me? What do you want from me?
Right.
Why you want to talk to me about the weather?
And the
It's
reality
none
is
of
that
your
people do
business.
that here, right?
Yeah.
People approach you, they'll chat with you about all kinds of stuff, ask you about your kids. But why were you so opposed to that? You're okay with that now.
Because we grow up in China. When we grow up, the first thing they teach you is do not talk to strangers.
Sure.
And either they will kidnap you, either, especially there was a lot of story that when you stand in the bus or something, in front of a bus stop, do not talk to people. Probably they will blow some fume to you, and then you will end up like your whole bank account.
What was
just
that,
like
Miao Yao or whatever?
I
It's
don't
like
know. They
some-
do have those drugs. It's in the newspaper.
I think it's
anyway.
rape drugs.
And also, there's a lot of things they get to know about where you live, where your kids go, and then they end up like taking your kids, all those stuff. So every single time stranger asks us, either you run away,
Right.
or either you just shut your mouth or hold your breath.
A really common thing that people did in the park that we went to, actually in parks around China, is that they would get to know your kid, like ask
Yeah.
about their age, and then they would get the whole crowd and be like, she took my kid, she's 3 years old.
Yeah,
blah,
you
blah,
end
blah.
up like your kid got stolen, and then people beat you up.
Because the whole crowd turns
Yeah.
against you, and they're like, yeah, that's not
There's
their
a
kid.
lot of sad story about that, and that makes me like really nervous, especially I bring them perspective over here, but people are so nice. You walk on the street, they smile at you and try to have a conversation. It's just hard for us to just,
You're not alone on that.
get
Like, it took
involved.
me a while to get used to that again.
Yeah, it's like, what do you want?
You
Why
don't
you want
talk-
to
don't
ask
talk to
me?
me.
Don't talk to me. Like,
and then you're like, okay, they're just nice.
later on you adopt, and then when I saw my baby girl growing up and started to talk to stranger, I looking at her, I was like, man, if you're in China, you already got sold. Got kidnapped or whatever
This is
that
getting
is.
way darker than I thought it would be. The last point I thought was pretty interesting. You were mentioning about how you were disappointed. You were disappointed in the reality of or your image of America, what America looks like, because you were
Yeah,
told,
true.
like every other Chinese person, that America is this beautifully, massively high-tech, gorgeous, developed country.
Yeah, like, America technically it's a super first world country, so they represent all the technology and everything. So in my whole imagination, because people talk about again, golden American dream, right? So by the time you go to America, you're supposed to have like big house, fancy, and then just like skyscrapers. You're supposed to go to New York City. Those like, other than the technology is not there in my imagination, all the cars are already flying on the sky. It's like those like a magical,
Sure.
those kind of image. But by the time we actually go to those big city, New York City, no offense, the first time I was actually literally upset because it looked like a counterfeit of Hong Kong with all those like
It's
older
much older
things.
than Hong Kong.
Yeah, but
It could
the
be the
thing
other way
is, like,
around. I'm getting too butthurt.
it doesn't look so swanky and
Right.
stuff.
It's old.
Yeah, but the time to time we go there, I started to slowly realize that, yeah, as you said, Hong Kong is like brand new places.
So Hong Kong, I mean, like, I think honestly a better example is to look at like a more modern Chinese city like Shenzhen or Shanghai or Beijing, because that's like, Hong Kong at least has some history. Those places have just sprung up out of nothing, right?
Yeah, there's no old stuff. Like by the time you're looking at those big city, they have like neon light and skyscraper and fancy cars, and then behind that is you just don't have much history.
gotcha.
But by the time you go walk on the street in the New York City, like right behind the fancy building, they have some like ancient, like long history and great church and museum and all those things. Like if you like remove your goggle about like disappointed about not new stuff, you
Right.
just realize there's a lot of story behind that.
For sure, and not to mention like houses and stuff. Your dad took me and Winston to some village, and he was like, "This is like an ancient village, and the houses were from the 1950s and 1960s." It's like, dude, my house is from the 1920s growing up.
Yeah, by the way, we rent those houses. It's like ancient too. It was like,
Yeah.
man, we're living in
In the ancient house. But Chinese people are like obsessed with like stuff not being that old, and I think that stems from the fact that stuff was such poor quality. So if you have something super old, it wasn't made very well.
Oh, there's another story though. When we get married, my my mother was so upset until like recently she told me that story. When we got married and then we pick her up right at the airport, and on the whole way it's like the highway with the like
It's rural,
no
yeah.
people,
Forest.
no land, forest. It's not necessarily pretty. It's just flat and weird, just wild. And then until we arrive to your home, my mom didn't say a word. And when by the time she saw your house, and then later on she told me that like, you know what, I seriously worry about the person that you marry, because you told me he's not live in a city. So by the time I saw the highway, I thought you really just marry with a like a far away, just poor and you know, jungle and forest and no man land, like those weird old families. That's how she feel about it.
So she was convinced that I grew up poor because we didn't live in the middle of the city.
Yeah, and she also fill up with the stereotypes that not necessarily all the foreigners are rich, and probably they're even worse than what we have. That's how she feel about. So the Chinese.
That's not judgmental.
Anyway,
So that's your expectations versus reality in America. I'd say overall, your reality, coming to reality, has been a positive experience for you, especially with the people.
of course.
It's been easier for you to adjust than for me to adjust in some place like China. That's for sure. It's tough to fit in there.
Yeah.
But still an adventure. I want to say thank you so much, Laowinners. If you enjoyed this, we're gonna probably pop some of this up on Patreon so you can see some of the stuff that didn't make it, and some of the other points that we wanted to talk about. And I want to say, don't forget that every single Wednesday you can watch us again on Laowinners at 1 p.m. EST. Every single Friday you can watch SerpentZA just in time for a beer, and then the ADV stuff is separate. That is ADVChina is every Monday, motorcycle talk show on 2 wheels at 1 p.m. EST. And then every other Tuesday, just to confuse you a little more, make sure that you are subscribed to ADV Podcast, because every other Thursday it comes out. And if you have the bell notification on, as long as you're subscribed, it will tell you when we're going to go live. And that is a 1-hour live show. I think it's probably some of the most fun stuff we do. And I want to say thank you so much, Laowinners, and I'll catch you
On the next one.